Trustworthy conversational radio. Welcome to Hard Facts on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Abuja, how are you? How are you holding up? How's the day treating you? It's the second day in the week, the 7th of May, and the month is still pretty young. I hope your energy level is still pretty high. There's no fuel scarcity, so you can't complain about that, can you? But inflation is still a problem. The Naira just not being as stable as you want it is still pretty much a challenge, and a few other pockets of them. But hey, chin up, wear a smile, give yourself, find your happy place and make sure you stay there to just help your mental health. Remember the report we talked about some time back? They said in Africa that when it comes to our mental health and stability, we are on top. It means that in spite of whatever lemon that Nigeria is throwing at you as a Nigerian, you are there making delicious lemonade out of it and keeping your head up and smiling and staying mentally stable. I like that. Now, don't ask me all the indices and criteria they use in arriving at that, but I will just take it since it's a good one. All right. We'll start off looking at some of the big stories driving conversation today, and I have my guest with me in the studio. My name is Kimberly Wachku. Just call me Kim, the Oracle, the Digital Oracle, OTF, the Fellow, Ochanya One, Madam Speaker, and I'll say yes to them all. And I'm super excited to have joining us again on the roundtable, Mr. Simon Reef. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Kimberly.
Delighted to have you back joining us.
This is my end. I'm glad to be around again.
Yeah.
Very happy to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Mr. Reef is a journalist, and he'll be helping us wade through some of those big stories driving conversation in Nigeria today. And there are quite a number of them. For one, a lot of people are still having conversation about what this new CBN directive to bank is about. But to just let you know, it's not like it's a new one. However, this time around, they intend to start implementing it. And quite a number of papers have given a breakdown of what it entails. We'll start off our conversation talking about it. CBN directs bank to charge 0.5% cyber security levy on all not all electronic transactions, because there's some exemptions made though. The Central Bank of Nigeria directed banks and other financial institutions to implement 0.5% cybersecurity levy on electronic transfers. This is contained in a circular signed by Chibuzo Efobi, Director of Payment System Management, and Haruna Mustafa, Director of Financial Policy and Regulation, on Monday. The directive was issued to commercial, merchant, non-interest and payment service banks, as well as mobile money operators, including POS. And CBN said the policy will take effect in 2 weeks. Charges will be described as cyber security levy. Now, according to the Apex Bank, the deduction and collection of the cyber security levy is a sequence to the enactment of the Cybercrime Prohibition, Prevention, etc. Amendment Act of 2024. And following the enactment of the Cyber Prevention, Prohibition, etc. Amendment Act 2024, and under the provision of Section 44, subsection 2A of the Act, a levy of 0.5%, which is 0.000, equivalent to 0.5% of all electronic transaction value by the business specified in the second schedule of the Act, is to be remitted to the National Security Fund, which shall be administered by the Office of the National Security Advisor. CBN said the charge will be remitted to the National Security Fund, which would be administered by the Office of the NSA. Deduction shall commence from 2 weeks from the date of the circular for all financial transactions, or for all financial institution, and the monthly remittance of the levy collected in bulk to the NFC account domiciled at the CBN. Meanwhile, earlier, banks announced the reintroduction of 2% charge on deposit above 500,000. We're going to give you a little breakdown of what is exempted from this. Now, a lot of Nigerians are like, okay, they already brought 5%. They already take this deduction. They take that deduction. And what is this 0.000% of cybersecurity levy on my money at this point in time? So there are some exemptions like salaries and a few of them which we're going to reel out. But sir, I'm sure you have gone through this too, just trying to make sense of all of this. Mm-hmm. The country needs money. We will borrow and we will tax and we will collect. But help us understand what this is from your perspective.
Well, thank you very much, Kimberly, for this opportunity once again.
Thank you, sir.
Well, yesterday when I read about the introduction of 0.5 cybersecurity levy, I said, wow, coming at a time when Nigerians are burdened with the cost of living. Well, you said you're going to exempt salaries. How many people are collecting salaries in Nigeria? We have less than 10% of the population collecting salaries. And most people are just Nigerians that are trying to make
ends meet.
So, but at the end of the day, I ask myself, why is it that government is simply interested in introducing taxes? What is it that Nigerian citizens are entitled to? If they are citizens of this country, at least government must do something for them. If you go to the US, they will tell you, there was one time they will tell you, don't think what Americans can do for you, think what you can do for America. Now, before the government said that, they had provided a level playing field for you to realize your dream. Now you ask this question, has the Nigerian government provided a level playing field for Nigerians? Have they invested in the lives of Nigeria to the extent that they will demand on them to do certain things? I ask myself, what is it that I am entitled to? What are my benefits as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Where I stay, most of the time, I provide life for myself. I get a security guard. We come together, we contribute money, and make sure they give us our security. You don't give us pipe-borne water. And even when you come to light, you all know the story. It's a story of wars. So the question you ask, what is it that citizens are benefiting from government? That is a question I want the government to answer. But it's quite unfortunate. They are using the cyber security levy as simply as a block, an oil block in quotes, just for the national security advisor, or the office of the national security advisor. We ask ourselves, having burdened Nigeria with so much hopelessness, will you now go and insist that they pay a particular money just to ensure that to ensure the safety of their money? What is the bank doing? There's so much deductions we have in this bank. You pay account maintenance, you pay ATM, you pay...
As a matter of fact, I'm going to help you, sir, read some of the details. The latest one being the cybersecurity levy, in which 5 naira is charged on transaction of 1,000. So any transaction of 1,000, they will take 5 naira. 50 naira for 10,000, 500 for 100,000, 5,000 for 1 million, and 50,000 for 10 million. That is cybersecurity. And then there's also the transfer fee for those transfer you make, where 10 naira is being charged on transaction of 5,000, 25 naira is charged on transaction of 5,000 to 50,000, and so on and so forth. Then there's a stamp duty, which also take 50 naira.
Yes.
There's the SMS charge of 4 naira, which you also get deducted. Then there's your VAT, which you get to see put out there at the end of the day. All of that comes from one transaction. Now, if you're adding cybersecurity to, if I make one transaction of 5,000, how much are they taking off of me is what I want to know. Given the fact that my 5,000 naira strength is so weak that I might be forced to take 10,000 to get what I used to get for 5,000 before.
Yes. That is why it's expected that in a nation where people are suffering, you don't impose more taxes on them. Because there's no money. You should do certain things for them to have money so that they can survive. So when you try now to impose a lot of taxes on them, then you are simply punishing them. You are punishing them.
But if we do not do taxes, what then can we do? What can be the alternative? Because the government is already talking about more borrowing, and Nigerians are sweating it out, saying, why do you have to borrow? But the thing is, it's a rock and a hard place. If we do not borrow, local or domestic, we have to tax. If we don't want to be taxed, we have to allow the government to borrow.
Let me tell you.
Because we're not generating.
Yes, we are not generating. Now, taxes are no alternative to production.
I agree with you. But it's a lazy way out for a government that is not putting in the work.
Government is not all about profit, getting money. Money must be spent. You are aware that in the last 8 years, government is only in Nigeria that federal government will borrow money and share. They will share it. You take a loan and you share it to people. And if you investigate very well, how many of these people get those shares? We've heard of what has happened in the humanitarian ministry. We've heard of the billions of naira that were stolen. Nothing has happened. So the issue, what we need to do is that we have enough resources in this country to cater for the welfare of Nigerians. But a very few people, dishonest people, prey on those resources and take it off from the public space. Just go and spend it for themselves and themselves. So if you say that you continue to impose taxes, it will not take you anywhere. You are only trying to create a block for somebody to come to simply come and grab all those things and disappear. So it's not the issue of absence of money, no. It's how effective are we managing the resources that is our own disposal? That's the fundamental question. So, but I am opposed to that. And I'm calling on the National Assembly to look into it. Why is it so? Because the National Assembly is only the representative of the people. In a democracy, they rank first among equals because that is the voice of the electorate. So they should not simply sit down and allow these taxes that are unjust just to punish citizens. Government should sit down and think hard and think well. Because there are other alternatives they can do to make money.
What are the alternative, really? Given the government that we have and knowing the template that they operate with, beyond saying we have to produce more.
Yeah.
We have to get very creative to the point where we need to just find new ways beyond even oil. Even with the oil, we're not managing that resources pretty well because we're not refining, we're not getting all of the components. We sell, we make that bulk sum, but we made some even beforehand dealing, before that hand that has almost kept us in a tight spot.
Let us start with something that we have handy.
Such as?
Oil.
Okay.
We have not been refining crude, in the last 10 to 15 years. All we do is to carry the crude, export it. When it is refined, it is brought to us as fuel. What about the 15 other products that are there? And we buy it at a whopping sums. So if we are able to refine our crude oil, we'll be able to say, hey, we won't be selling it at 600 naira. We want to be selling it at 300 naira. And ensure that anybody who smuggles it out gets the death penalty. We can do that. Now we have large vessels where our potential in the agri sector has been left unattended to. Why? Because of insecurity. As I speak with you, yesterday, about 6 people were killed in Kaduna State. So you will be having a spike in insecurity. The major reason for that is to ensure that they drive some kind of fright among farmers so that they will not have access to, they won't go to farm. And if they don't go to farm, you know what happened? Hunger will take over. Because as we speak now, the poverty among rural dwellers is more than 76% in most parts of the north. Why is it so? It's insecurity. So tackle insecurity. Ensure that teeming youth that have migrated from the rural
areas,
zones to the urban zone, go back to the farm. See, this economy will never move an inch without production. So if you like, tax everybody. The president used to say, let the poor breathe. Is it by imposing this tax that the poor will breathe?
As a matter of fact, people have brought that particular phrase out to saying,
yes,
is this how we're going to breathe under you? Like, seriously? Because this is like choking people. Your knee is on their necks right now with all the taxes. And
it's choking because if you know what the ordinary Nigeria is passing, they will send you a transfer of just about 1,000 naira. That's to tell you how things are bad. To you now, Kimberly, if somebody say 1,000, that's a smaller money. But that is what will decide whether somebody will live or die. It is. So what is government doing? Now, with all the removal of subsidy, you came and told us that if this subsidy is removed, things will go well. You remove this subsidy, the greatest beneficiary of those subsidy is the governors. And in some of the states, is bazaar. Nothing happens. So we expect that the National Assembly should stand up, like it has done in the issue of this NERC and this our discourse. They should call them and say, no, those taxes are choking. They are not allowing the poor to breathe. Now we don't have a middle class. It's either you are rich there or you are down.
The middle class has thinned out a lot, actually. Because, I mean, when cable TV increased their rate, we saw how people were crying. It tells you, like, the middle class are the ones saying that we can't even afford pay TV. We have to go low on the bouquet. So it tells you how bad it is.
People are now going on free to air. Go on start, nobody gives a damn. Do you understand? If you can't feed your children, you can't pay their school fees, you have one bill or the other, why should you be paying 10,000, 20,000 on DSTV?
Exactly.
No, you don't need to. So what I'm saying is that the National Assembly should come to the aid of Nigerians. They are the only organ for now that can speak up for the people.
For the people.
Because the executive have shown a proclivity to simply impose taxes, and that is all what they want.
But let's also look at the importance of the cybersecurity itself. I mean, we're looking at a space that is growing, that's becoming a world of its own. More people are there, and new kind of threats are emerging also from the cyberspace. There's all kinds of AI that people can manipulate in so many ways. There's a need for that security, attention to be paid. So is it something worth it for Nigerians to dip their hand for that in their pocket to make that ultimate sacrifice?
Kimberly, to tell you the truth, the banks can do all that.
On their own?
On their own, without intervention, without asking the bank customer to pay. They've been collecting so much money from customer. If you have 10 million and everybody's paying 50,000 or 50 naira, do you know what that means? And the banks are announcing billions of naira in profit. What are they doing? If you ask this bank, if you go to South Africa, banks are involved in building houses for mortgage people to access. Do we have them here? Do you have banks coming up to say, hey, we are building houses, workers, you can go and access, you can stay there? They don't do it. But every year you hear of billions upon billions of naira that they have made just from the sweat of suffering Nigerians. The banks can do it.
On their own.
On their own.
So no transfer to the customer.
Let us not, because, see, if we want this country to go right, we should understand that as Nigerians, we also have rights. It is not good because you find it very difficult to punish a corporate firm. You now take the punishment to a suffering citizen. It's not right. We must be clear on this issue. Government was done for the people. It's for the welfare of the masses. Why are they not taking into consideration the interests of the masses? Why? It's quite saddening. It's quite very, very sad, honestly. Because this is a period where instead of you seeing government doing something to salvage what Nigerians have passed through in the last 8 years, you discover, is it a renewal of frustration? No, that is it. So because people are poor.
But then others will argue and say it's not as if it's a new levy. It's just that it's now going to be implemented, enforced by the relevant government agencies. It's always been there. No one has paid any attention to it before now.
Let me tell you, when President Tinubu was sworn in, somebody told me that Lagos will come to Abuja, and Abuja is Nigeria. I said, what do you mean? He said he's known for taxation. I said, how do you tax people that are even poor? Many people can see, giving opportunity to Nigerians, they don't even want to go to the banks again. Whatever money they have, they put it under the pillow. Yes, let's be very factual because things are bad. But to me, that taxation, whether it's cyber, like I said,
cybersecurity,
the banks should take charge of that at no cost. Because they've been earning billions of naira in profit every year. ZD will declare to you, oh, this is how many billion, and we will all clap. And they'll ask us again to go and pay certain money.
Well, it's not going to the bank.
Cyber security of their customers. Then they should close shop.
It's not going to the banks. This is for the CB, and it's going to NSA, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
So it's technically not the bank making money off of us at this point in time.
Okay.
The CBN is directing the banks to collect this amount, on behalf of the Nigerian, the NSA. So this is like we're making a contribution of based on every transaction we make for the National Security Advisor's Office, the NSA's office, for cybersecurity issues.
Well,
The bank should still take this. I mean, you could decide on corporate social responsibility, but why take on that responsibility if it's for national security?
Kimberly, how many of the banks do CSR? Let's be very, very frank. We are journalists.
I have not taken stock,
No,
honestly,
see,
but I
am
know that they do have
you
different
understand?
projects that
They're
they
supposed
do.
to have CSR. Do they do that? No, do they?
I'm
do
sure
that?
if we interrogate a good number
If
of
you
them,
interrogate not a good number of them, do that. It's true. We are not mentioning names of banks here. I'm only telling you that banking, criminal activities have found itself in some financial institution in this country. You can't doubt it. The problem with journalists is that sometimes we don't tell the truth. That is a fact. And if this country collapses today, journalists will be held responsible.
but you don't want to speculate. You want to say whatever you want to say based on fact, on good authority, that they
Fine.
do not indeed have any
It's very
corporate
true.
social
I
responsibility.
quite agree with you. But let me tell you, do you know why it's always very difficult to embark on an investigative story? Because you discover so many people are involved and they want to relate to you. When I was in the Punch newspaper in 2003, I was investigating a particular story of an orphanage. I believe there were certain things that were not done right there. And I also believe that the FCT then was not doing the right thing. So I went to the lady in charge, and she asked me, she said, Simon Reef, when I did the interview, she said, please, can you have this envelope? I said, no, ma'am. She said, why? You are like my son. I said, yes, mama, please, just keep it. But I will come for it after the publication. I went to the FCT then, to the secretariat that was in charge, asked question, tough question, and I came out. She said, no, can you just take this for this? I said, no, thank you so much, ma. I will come back. She said, so when the story was published, let me tell you, both the FCT and the orphanage woman, they were still crying that I was not fair to them. But I felt confident that all the sides of the story
were represented in the report.
And I was very, very happy. And I said, come, you promised us. No, we can't give you. You know, because, you see, they give you this thing to make sure that they tweak, they kind of influence you to write what they want to write. So let me tell you, the challenges facing the investigative journalists are enormous. Very, very enormous. Some of us know you can't do speculation. You go somewhere, you see blood, and you say, no, a goat has been slaughtered here. They say, no, where is the evidence? Where is the speculation? You see, that is what we are having. So, in as much as, yes, journalism is not all based on speculation, but sometimes you even find those that are supposed to tell journalists the truth are the one involved in ensuring that the journalists cover up on such stories. And that is very unfortunate.
All right.
Yes, because it is always very difficult to come against corporate organizations. They are very powerful. They are very, very powerful. They are there to protect their interests. If your interest is against them, they'll call you. Yes. I have taken a story on CBN some 8-9 years ago. And I'll say, hey, Reef, drop that story. I said, I can't drop the story. They had to call my publisher. Then Malam Kabir Yusuf of the Daily Trust. He said, Reef came here. Oh. He said, did he demand for any money? He said, no. We want you to just tell him that, please, we don't want that story. He said, no. Go to him. If you beg him, if you allow the story to go, let it go. But if you say, well, they came to me with a sum of money. I refused. I said, no, the story must go. So, media, you see, I told you the last time, the media is the only profession where you are being delegated with a responsibility without empowerment. You work with your sweat. At the end of the day, you are just a very stupid person at the end of the day. You cannot even have a home for yourself. Government will be giving money to intervention needs. They will never give it to buy newsprint. The money you people spend on diesel here alone, they will not say, Kimberly, Nigeria FM, please, can we see how we can do to assist on it? No, you're on your own. So journalists are seen as beggars, but journalists should not be seen as beggars. If you go to the US, when they say this man is a journalist, he invites a senator to breakfast and pays from his pocket. But do we have that? So the issue is that if you want to hide the truth, pauperize the journalists. And they will not empower you, because if they empower you, they will know you will have the right to speak up. Mm-hmm. That is it. So right. I'm telling you this to know that the environment we find ourselves is not conducive to investigative journalism. That is the truth.
Well, in spite of that, some people are still getting the job done.
Yeah, sure.
All right. We've been talking about the cybersecurity levy, which the CBN has directed all financial institutions, even down to your POS, to charge 0.5% of whatever transaction you do at any given time for national security purposes, cybersecurity that is, and it is meant to be sent in bulk to the NSA office. And looking at some of the exemption, loan disbursement and repayment to be exempted from this 0.5%. But how would they know it's a loan disbursement and repayment? Do you write it in brackets, loan disbursement and repayment? Salary payment are exempted, intra-account transfer within the same bank or between different banks for the same customer. Like those of you who one account doesn't have money, you want to transfer from one other of your account to your account. No charge for that one. And then there is intra-transfer between customer of the same bank. That is exempted also. Other financial institution instruction to their corresponding banks is also exempted. Interbank placement, bank transfer to CBN and vice versa. Inter-branch transfer within a bank. Check clearing and settlement, letter of credit, bank recapitalization related funding, only bulk fund moving from collection account. Savings and deposit, including transaction involving long-term investment such as treasury bill, bonds, and commercial papers. Government social welfare program transaction, e.g. pension payment, non-profit and charitable transaction, including donation to registered non-governmental organization or to charity, educational institution transaction, including your tuition fee and other transaction involving schools, university, or other institutional agencies, transaction involving bank internal accounts such as suspense account, clearing account, profit and loss account, interbank branch, reserve account, nostro and vostro account, and escrow account. And speaking on penalty for non-compliance, the CBN said failure to remit the levy is an offense liable on conviction to a fine of not less than 2% of the annual turnover of the defaulting business, amongst others. So the banks will be fined if they fail to do that. Maybe this is where they come and they can decide to take it upon themselves at the end of the day. So pretty much transferring to your own account within your bank or interbank, no charges. However, every other transaction aside from salary, pension, and what is spelled out, you get that 0.5%. Let's see what the National Assembly will do about it. And on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja, where we're streaming, Damola, I see you. Thank you very much. You're very kind. And Henry Ogbonna says there's no reason whatsoever for the cybersecurity fee, not a single justification for it, period. He also went and says such a corporate entity exists for securing funds. If they cannot guarantee security of fund kept in their care, even most of the fraud perpetrated are done in collusion with some of these banks, he wrote. We're also streaming on Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. Nigeria, there's a lot of mess going on. Very little is working. People are just suffering. Godwin, I see you. Abdul Ghani Ujimo says, for me, the only way the country can progress and develop is when we have military. Okay, we'll leave that one out. Bright says, you ask, what can government do if they can borrow? Government should cut down the cost of governance. Tinubu is not a wealth creator, but a tax collector. Who is going to help Nigeria? SCN Godwin says, welcome to the mic and greetings to our guest in the studio. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Please help me ask our guest. Now that the government decided to tax Nigeria on cybersecurity, what would the government do as defense if the money we kept in the bank is tampered with by fraudster Robert from One Man Village? And Mr. Reef, welcome. SMS is 4 naira. CBN can collect 1 naira and give 3 naira to the network. 5 naira charge or NSA can take 1 naira and give them 4 naira. Why is the federal government so bent on running the poor Nigerians dry? As the text from Lube is already telling them how to share the 5 naira they did. Caller from Cuba says the mentality that government will do everything for us will not help us. What is the tax to GDP ratio in Nigeria? Can you force banks to take up responsibility that they are not obligated to? I know successive governments have failed us, but all we have a role to play to revamp our economy. Our guest has spoken well. Nigeria is blessed with everything on earth, but we don't have good managers. Rather, very selfish people, including those in the National Assembly. Our guest is right. We should ask questions because they are also beneficiaries from the faulty system. We need a prudent and selfless president to lead Nigeria so that everyone can key into a new Nigeria with possibilities, said Mr. Godwin from Area 11. Please, Mr. Tinubu, let the poor brace. Nigerians are going through a lot under your watch. Chief Ofem from Gwagwalada. Chasenbad says, please, if I am not involved in cybercrime, why should the government impose levy on my transaction under the term cybersecurity levy? What are the security vote meant for? Why impose cybersecurity levy when their security vote meant for that? A blanket cybersecurity levy on all accounts is like saying all Nigerians are involved in cybercrime, and that's totally disrespectful to all many Nigerians. Nigerians should head to court and challenge all manner of shady policies being churned out, says Charles. Well, technically, that's how you interpret it, but it's not as if everybody is doing crap, but they understand that they are new threats. It might not be your threat internally of your people, but we live in the world where there's always someone snooping around, just trying to see. Already, I mean, Xi Jinping is taking a tour of Europe, and there are already some people saying, oh, watch your cyberspace. Don't let them do this. Don't let them do all of that. So that's the kind of threat you're looking out for, really. Let me repeat myself. I'm not surprised that the government is fixated on taxing Nigeria into obscurity because we've been won by David Hunduye before the 2023 presidential election. Nigerians should relax and expect another tax, hopefully anti-terrorism tax, to be imposed by the same CBN under this government that knows nothing else but imposition of taxes. And they're becoming ridiculous. And unfortunate, we, the educated people, are supporting this. Honestly, I miss the former president. And finally, for those claiming the money for the banks, I ask, have the banks been remitting the SMS notification charge to the telcos? Neme in Asokoro is asking. I also join our guests in asking the same question. What am I benefiting from Nigeria as a citizen? Since I was born, I don't know what I've ever gained from Nigeria as a citizen. The people at the helms of affair are always saying things differently from the rest of us. To me, I believe they're just there to make life difficult for the people, says Oludade Abiodun. And Adedamola says, please, can you chat me up? Okay, that's for slamming Nigerians with taxes upon taxes is draining. Let government think outside the box on ways to boost revenue generation other than suffocating us. Where do we expect Nigerians to get money to service all of these charges when there are no jobs or teeming Nigerians and lack of enabling environment for businesses to thrive? Olivia is asking. And let me take one more quickly. Evans Mega from Akwa State says, Mr. President, government is tax capitalism because right from Lagos State, Mr. Tinubu asked Nigerians, all Lagosians, to pay tax on television. I mean, television. Kim. And Mr. Tinubu told us during campaign that we're going to be paying tax, but we're not smart to comprehend his grammar. Your guess should not drive us in putting hope on the National Assembly because the only objection Mr. Akpabio has done since attaining the number 3 position in the country is to constantly blame Emefiele, lastly Kim. In 2 weeks' time, cybersecurity level will commence. Which way, APC? Let's take 2 calls in response to this, then we'll get to the next story quickly. 0700 951 0000, or you can call 0809 5974869 or 0809 9930137. 1 minute tops to make your contribution, please. Hello?
Hello, Kim. Good evening.
Yes, good afternoon.
This is Engineer Ola.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Kim, we are talking about the issue of this cyber tax. The regular tax that they have been collecting, Mr. Kim, I was hoping you would talk about it, that the FIRS is in charge of. What are they using it for? They have FIRS building a high-rise building here in Abuja with people, taxpayers' money, doing nothing with the money. See, let me tell you something, Sister Kim. Until when Nigerians are ready, when Nigerians are set up, all of us will come together. Because I've already said it and I'll keep saying it. The president of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nothing to offer Nigeria. He Lagosian will tell you better what they are facing under when they are facing in Lagos, even under him and even presently. They will tell you. We are going to see Mr. King, and God help us.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello, Kim. Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, my name is JB Omawe. I'm calling from Gogolanda.
Well,
Good afternoon, our guest.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother.
I think he has said it all. Nothing to add. Because, like he quoted other countries, by the time you pay tax, by the time you say, anybody asks you, what can you do for your country? It means all the basics are on ground. Therefore, you pay tax without, in fact, you won't even ask questions. But here, like you said, you pay for almost everything. When a road is spoiled, you are passing, you have to pay some boy there that will pay it for you so that you pass. Pay for water, you pay for light, you pay for security, you pay for almost everything. And sometimes, even the ones provided by government, you pay, you don't even get it. You pay, you don't even get it. Meanwhile, you have paid upfront. So nobody is against tax, actually. But then,
All right.
is this? What is it being used for? That is the issue.
All right, then.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too, sir. Just so you know, this is the levy. You know, their tax,
Hello.
their levies, their fees, and or whatnot. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, my name is Peacemaker. I'm a first-time caller. Even though I've been enjoying your show.
Good to know, Peacemaker. Welcome to the show and hope to hear more from you.
Thank you, madam. Okay, the truth about this country is, just like one of the last callers said, the country we are living in, I think it's very obvious that we should be prepared to pay even more. Because I was thinking that the government was going to do about all of the taxes that the banks are taxing us, but only for us to hear more. And that's not a surprise because Tinubu, Mr. President, told us during his campaign that he will go after people who are not paying tax not to pay, and those who are paying will pay more. I think I remember watching that clip. So it's a testament to what he said. And going by the way he operated in Lagos State, I'm also not surprised that we are the ones paying for governance in Nigeria, but it's a sad situation. We are not made to pay for it. We are paying for everything. They are even paying for their flights to travel. Apparently, this is what they do. I wish this money they're taking from us and they're putting it back to the economy would have been nice. But unfortunately, my feeling is that they share this money, they split it among themselves. Something should be done before something happens to us. It's not nice. People are already going through a lot.
All right, then.
Why hit the pressure? Why put people under more pressure? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nongo Fidel. I see your comment on our Facebook page. Keep the comment coming on Facebook and on YouTube also. Let's go on to the next story because Nigerians are still saying, you see this electricity tariff, we no go agree. All right. And the only thing is the placard has not been put up yet. Nigerians on Monday rejected the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission reduction of the tariff payable by Band A from 225 naira per kilowatt to 206.8 kilowatt per hour. The NLC, the TUC, the Nigerian Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Electricity Consumers, Civil Society Organization in separate interview demand a reversal of the hike. The new tariff announced on Monday came 33 days after NEC raised the electricity tariff for Band A from 68 naira per kilowatt to hour to 200. I mean, look at the jump. To 225 naira, representing about 240% increase. Subsidy on electricity was withdrawn completely from the tariff of consumers in the Band A category, which constitute about 15% of the total 12.82 million power consumers in the country. Now we're getting to hear from the NLC and the TUC, their counterpart. They've given the NEC, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, till the 12th of May to withdraw the recent hike in electricity tariff or face unprecedented industrial action. You know, back in the day when the NLC and TUC said it would be unprecedented industrial action, you'd literally be shaking in your boots, be thinking the economy will be grounded. I don't know if he still packs that kind of punch anymore, but they are still issuing the threat anyway. The ultimatum was issued in a letter to the chairman and CEO dated 3rd of May 2024 and copied to the Secretary General of the Federation and saying that you have to reverse it or else mother of all industrial action will happen. Nigerians are still complaining. Nobody's adjusting to that whole ban A. The fact that we're all categorized, that means, like the animal farm, we're not equal by any stretch, even by our consumption of electricity. I mean, I'm walking around, I'm not on ban A. I feel like ban A people are superior to me. And I'm a citizen, like you. I'm entitled to 24 hours electricity. Yeah. How dare you think I'm not qualified to have it? But then, do I want to pay 240% extra? We're still not equal in this country, as a matter of fact, but I will distribute electricity. Yeah. It is unfair. Yeah. Personally, I take an exemption to that.
Yes. But again, this is the first time the Nigerian Labour Congress and TUC is coming out united.
Really?
Insisting. Yeah, this is the first time.
They have.
I'm telling you, no.
Sir, don't be too quick to get excited about it, because last minute to it, you might get some.
Minute to it,
exactly.
But let me tell you, this issue of power is one of the things I thought government should have looked at it very closely, and not just come over and say, hey, let's just increase it. No, it's not the issue of pricing. The question is, do you have power? Is there light? Why do you increase the cost of blackouts? The national grid has become national corruption of grid.
How so?
The national grid that takes all these power lines, they use that one as just to certify their own grid in terms of giving out contract. They fleece the nation through all those contracts. And that is why within just a year, you had about 13 collapse of the national grid. So you have outages everywhere. And then you wake up one morning and say, no, we are increasing it from 65 to 225 per kilowatt. It's not fair. So what I expect
shows
now is for the Nigerian people to stand.
Sir, can we go on a quick break?
Shared passionately on your number one talk station of the nation. Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja. Let's talk.
You can go ahead, sir.
So what I expect Nigerians now is to stand up and say enough of this manipulation. Because what they are trying to do is just to manipulate. Now the NAERC is saying, they had to reduce the cost from 225 to 206 or so because of the exchange rate. Okay, are you saying that by next month, if the dollar
goes up?
No, I pray that it doesn't go up. My prayer is for those people who are trading in dollars, and it's quite unfortunate. We have Nigeria. See, we are killing ourselves. We Nigerians are killing ourselves. Like someone said, he said, to deliver this country, it's not only the president that will do it. But I can tell you, a particular class of people that can lead that deliverance is the National Assembly. I don't accept the view that all of them in the National Assembly are bad. No, there are people that are committed. They are committed to the Nigerian nation. They want to see their electorate enjoy better living conditions. But a majority of them simply want to have the best of life. And when you want to have the best of life in this country, the only thing you can do is to game the system. And there are so many means through which you can game that very system. And that is why we're having what we are having. But I can tell you, people say, Tinubu, someone asked me one day, I said, why do you give people hope that the president can do it? I said, what? I have this, why I believe that Tinubu is somebody that has made a lot of money. Money should not be his problem. Do you understand? He's one person, whether you like it or not, that plotted his way to power without the assistance of anybody. That I can confidently tell you.
Well, given the fact that very little is known of his backstory and beginning story,
yes,
one would say it's a grass to grace story, actually.
Well, it could be a grass to grass story. All of us, see, tell you, before the independence in 1960, who was a rich man in this country? Many billionaires that we have in Nigeria made money from government. Let's say the fact. They made their money from
government patronage.
Yes, on government patronage. And when they tell you government patronage, we're talking of whether it was clean or not clean, but they are up there. But I'm saying this is the first time you found one man that fought his way. See, he knew that people were opposed to him, but he said, I will be president. And he became president. So the question we now ask him, why, now that you are the president, why can't you take us out of this Jordan we have found ourselves to the promised land? And I expected him to do much more than he is doing. Because one, it's not just removing oil subsidy that is the issue. No. I expected him to remove the corruption virus that is in that subsidy. May Gaskia Muhammadu Buhari ruled for 8 years. What happened at the end of the day? He said oil subsidy was a scam. At the end, he ended up paying 500 billion naira every month. He promised he was going to get the refineries working. What happened? They are still dead. And government is still keeping, NNPC keeping those workers for 10 years. They have not done any work. So why are you promoting national indolence?
All right.
Why are you not doing the right thing?
All right, then. Let's take a quick break for the news at the top of the hour. Bifan is already here. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation with our guest, Simon Reef, as we look at more of the stories driving conversation. I see you guys itching to call and contribute. You will get your moment. Please stay with us.
This is Nigeria Info.